Welcome to the Quantum Empress. This is your host, Cristina Drannikow, and I am back in my living room in Barcelona, where I am gonna talk about those tips on empowerment. Now, here's the thing. Many times, it's not, like I said last week, it's not about how to get empowered, which we are gonna get there, but sometimes we first need to address those moments in which we lose power. And today I want to talk about emotions. And the fact is that in our society, thanks to my fantastic Descartes, who said, I first think and then I do, we lose contact. It's like he has like the guillotine. They have chopped off our head and emotions suddenly become something negative, something bad. And we women, we are very emotional creatures. We sort of lose our power when they tell us, no, you don't have to be, you're too emotional, you shouldn't cry, don't do this. For me, it took me a long time to address my emotional side as a strength. Now, what happens with emotions? Emotions, they say, oh, there are positive emotions and negative emotions. No, it's not like that. They are emotions in the light and they are emotions in the shadow. So how does it work? Emotions in the light and emotions in the shadow. Well, here's the thing. For example, we have, and I'm going to take this because it's a great emotion that comes up right now. I'm going to take up anger. Anger is misjudged, misplaced, missed everything in society. Yet, let me tell you that anger itself has an incredible amount of power. Right? Because it's fiery energy. And when that energy is in the shadow, yes, of course, it's very destructive and it can harm and it can cause pain. Yet, let me tell you, even then, we need that. I will just make a stop here because I want to go to another side on how to work through some emotions, but when they are perceived as negative. But I want to take this because we see destruction as a negative point. And I will take this this thing of the anger. Yet here's the thing. Kali, the goddess of death, destruction, revolution, Kali uses her anger to destroy and destruct in order to be able to construct something different, right? So many times we might have an anger explosion that might seem negative, yet at the end it might be positive. Why? Because it will separate you from a situation, it will create a crisis that will open the door for change. Now, I will use this term many times because for the Chinese, not my favorite people right now, but for many reasons, but for the Chinese, crisis and opportunity are the same, right? Continue on this thought, this line of thought, and that is, sometimes we create circumstances that destroy everything, and by breaking all those barriers, breaking all the structure, we can see other shapes, we can see other ways. It's like in the tarot, there will be the tower, you know, we push it, we push it, we push it, and boom, right? Sometimes I understand that it can be difficult with friendships, yet in the long run you will see that even then those friendships needed that breakup in order to be shaped into a different way, a different manner, a different structure. And sometimes what will happen is that friendship will move out and new people will come, new people which will be more aligned with your energy, right? So I will continue now. So Kali, that energy, that fiery energy, that anger energy that is so badly seen in society, it allows us to break, to take the courage, to take the energy to break, to say this is it, to put clear boundaries, or to destroy everything. Now, of course, we cannot keep on destroying all the time because we lose energy there, right? But sometimes I just want to take the negativism of heavy emotions because they are misjudged many times. And here's the thing, you might be very hard on yourself thinking that anger is bad, that being angry is bad. And I want to take that away from you. Emotions like anger can be in the shadow or can be in the light. In the light, they ignite, they are passion, and they destroy to reconstruct. Great. I will continue with this emotion, anger. What happens? And last week, who saw some of my live in YouTube, you can see that I was angry, I was frustrated, I was exploding because of the face mask and the mandatoriness in order to enter a shop. That it's not that I didn't want to cover myself, I just wanted to put a silk scarf that I can do as I wish, because at the end the objective was that my face was covered. Okay. So it took me 5 days and a lot of self-work, self-reflection and meditation to be able to dismantle that emotion. And I will explain that to you so you might understand that sometimes you are not the crazy woman. You might be at a hormonal stage or at a hormonal explosion. But let me tell you, you are not crazy. Despite what the rest of the world thinks, you are not crazy. Okay? You're just having an anger situation. Now, hear me out with this. What I did was to start analyzing the disproportion of my reaction. Right. I still do not accept the face mask. I will not agree with those policies. I think they are totally nonsense. Yet I want to be able to go to the street and not be affected so much. So I needed to work through those emotions. I did some meditations and some self analysis and some self you know, when you make a little bit powder, when you make a crumble, that you take that flour and sugar and butter. I did that. And you might have this if you're having some issues also with the face mask. As a woman, as women, there is a collective unconsciousness in which we were forced or put pressure on not to talk, not to speak our truth, not to say our feelings, not to express. So we women feel that covering up our faces like a heavy situation. And it is in the collective unconsciousness of women, because actually we women are suffering pretty much a lot about that. At least with the women I speak to. So we can understand a little bit. The second point is understand your system. You know, I come from the systemic field, and I like to see where those feelings come from. Not only from the collective unconsciousness, but also from my family. Who in my family was not able to speak up, to speak their truth? Who in my family was kept down, kept with their mouth shut? And at least my personal story, just check out yours, because if you come from a family that has been through the Second World War, you probably have those things. In my case, my father was taken by the Nazis when he was 14 years old. By this time, so also check out the dates. Dates are very important. They show you something. And of course, at 14 years old, he was a boy. He couldn't speak his truth. If he was gonna speak his truth or challenge the authority, he was gonna be killed. So all those programmings are within. They are in my cells, because I am my father. I don't have to repeat his story. Those are two different things. But still, my cells, my DNA is his DNA, right? So I do have that encoded in myself. By addressing that, I could make it conscious, and I could work towards releasing that, which I'm gonna come in a second. That was the second point. And for sure, we women, that is my third point, as kids, we were being told to shut up, to be the nice girl, not to protest, not to complain, not to shout, not to yell, not to be too loud, not to be too passionate, not to be too expressive, not to, right? That also is keep your mouth shut, smile, and be a nice girl, right? Okay, now, when this comes and the emotion comes, this negative first anger emotion, and this can apply to any anger situation, I will leave a link so you can click in my website and get a meditation, which I'm not gonna do right now. Maybe I will also leave a separate meditation, but it is to start taking that as the first layer. We have this is a secondary emotion, believe it or not, and as passionate as you feel it is a secondary emotion. Below that, there is an emotion that is much more tender, that is more subtle, and unfortunately is more painful. Now, in this case, I transit it and I enter it into that texture that allow me to pass from my anger towards the sensation of sadness, of impotency, of injustice, of, in the case of my father, being separated from his whole family, thrown directly into a tremendous uncertainty. And that sensation has ripped his heart. Now, as women, we also have that. We also have been, since a very young age, have been stripped off, or we have had the feeling that we were stripped of that capacity to feel at that moment the sadness, the injustice, and the loneliness that causes for us not to be able to express our truth, right? I know that many of you are feeling that. So it's not only anger management. It's not only, oh, you are emotional, you have to manage your emotions. No. Or push them away, because everything that we pushed away, it will come back. Yes, we can put the feet in the ground and we can release those emotions. Yet at the same time, we need to be able to enter a deeper level and understanding that emotion, understanding what is telling us, understanding that is softer and more tender primary emotion that is underneath the surface, and that is the one needs to be addressed with love, with compassion, and be able to be felt in our body, and to be able to be released. Yes, so it doesn't keep on resonating. We do understand that we are resonating boxes, right, of vibration, of energy, like sounds, like waves. Heavy. I'm sorry. It is a heavy, but here's the thing. The more we understand that, and the more we enter those textures, is the better we will feel within ourselves. And that better feeling is what we can take into our core, make it ours, and rise from there through our feminine strength. Breathe in and release. I will leave a meditation for you on how to turn those emotions that you perceived or are being judged by society as negative. Let's work through that and let's recover our power. It has been a great pleasure. I'm so happy for all those liked and shared and subscribed, and I'm looking forward for next week. And don't forget, these Thursdays, there is a Mystic Thursday for your evolution. Love you a lot, and blessings here from Barcelona.